All right, welcome to our next podcast of Titan Avenger Gaming. Right now we have Ryan, Luke, and David with us. First things first, how are you guys?
I'm okay.
You're okay. Or you
I'm
seem
okay.
a little bit more excited than just okay.
Yeah.
Exhausted.
David, you're always exhausted.
Yeah.
I am not super tired, contrary to popular belief.
Of prior comments. All right. All right, guys. First things first. Last time we talked about episodes 1 and 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Since then, there's been 3 episodes 3, 4, and 5. Has everybody been caught up with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Okay. So, one more episode left. It's gotten pretty good. I think the biggest thing, and it's not like it's a bad thing, but it just stands out because the title of the episode was the world's watching. But just the scene, I've seen it like on websites, but the new Cap standing there with the shield, and blood splattered, that, even though that, I guess, is kind of sad, kind of bad in a way, whatever, that's just kind of like a cool, iconic scene, And so I that's the only thing I can think about that stands out from the whole thing. But, the whole episode, of course, I've really liked. So, Luke, if you want to start us off, what are your thoughts? Any predictions? Any ideas? What you think so far?
Well, as a huge Captain America fan, I have to say that part, like, he's just a disgrace. Like, I was just so upset because of everything that shield stands for. Now, I love the kind of the duplexity of that shield and the fact that they wouldn't give it to Isaiah, who was obviously another good choice for it, but the kind of the tainted history of our country playing into the selection of Captain America makes it even more important in my mind for Sam to take it and become the next Captain America.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of background to that I really kind of like, that's a part of the complex story of the Shield. But other than him being a disgrace, I want to make a couple of pretty bold predictions that are probably way off base and probably not where Marvel's headed. But a lot of people I saw were trying to predict what was in the case that the Wakandans gave him, whether it was a new Falcon suit or a new Captain America suit. But I don't think it's either. I think that my prediction is that they found a way to either recreate synthetically or they found some more of the plant, but they're giving him a dose of the purple Black Panther serum so that he gets the super soldier effect, but without like the negative consequences that we've seen. Because whenever the first in Captain America, the original movie, he tells him that the serum makes good great and makes bad worse. And that's why it's important to have the right man, because a strong man would lose focus of what his power can do.
Yeah.
If he has no strength, he'll just abuse it. And that's what we see with John Walker. And so I think that maybe they're going to give Sam their own version of Super Soldier Serum. That may come with a new shield too, but
yeah,
I think it's more than just that. But
well,
I
even
love the series so far, and even like Bucky, like figuring out who he is.
Yeah.
Outside of war, that's a classic. Like, I mean, since the Odyssey was written, it's the story of soldiers coming home and how do we put war away? How do we set it aside and regain what we were fighting for without losing ourselves to the fight itself? So my favorite part is probably watching Bucky try to make amends and figure out kind of who he is. That and him Sam finally coming to an agreement of how to get along.
Yeah, like the scene with John Walker when he's sitting there with his partner, you know, what you were saying, Luke, you know, he said, would you take the serum? You know, he made a comment. He says, pretty much said, it makes you become who you really are, you know, like you see your true self in a way, you know, and as soon as I saw him put it in his pocket, I was like, he's fixing to take that thing. He's not fixing to, you know, and in a way, you know, scenes before that, a little surprised, but then again, I wasn't, because, you know, Zemo goes up and stomps on everything.
See, I thought for sure Zemo was about to pick one up too.
And he's stomping.
And then it made sense when he started stomping, and I was like, that tracks with his character. He's against it since he could have turned all 5 of those guys in cryo sleep. He could have thawed them out and turned them all loose.
Yeah.
He didn't, because he hates the super soldier serum that much.
Yeah.
And another thing, whenever I saw John Walker pick one up, I was like, that's another clue that he's not the right guy to carry that shield. He doesn't deserve it.
And I saw something on the internet. It said, this is why Falcon is the true Captain America. And it showed the scene where he goes into the place to talk to Carly. You know, he goes in there, you know, no weapons, no shield, nothing, just to talk, you know, like Captain America would do, talk it out. And then John Walker goes in there and puts his finger in Falcon's face and says, no, we're done with talking. You know, you're under arrest, you know, all aggressive and stuff, you know, and that's, you know, he's got that, like that power trip kind of thing.
And see, I think at the end, that's where Bucky kind of starts coming around to be on Sam's side. Because at the very first episode, they're clearly not on the same page.
Yeah.
But I think Bucky's starting to see either a little bit of Steve in Sam, or he sees the value that Steve placed there.
Yeah.
Well, he finally understands the character of Sam and knows he's the right choice. Like, this is why he was chosen. This is why Cap gave him the shield and not Bucky the shield.
Yeah. Because didn't Bucky say something about, well, when Steve was planning, or Steve was telling me, didn't he say something like that, I think?
Yeah.
So it's kind of
like they had plans.
Yeah.
To give Sam the shield anyway.
And then it's like wide open, you know, his eyes wide open now. I understand why Cap gave it to him and stuff.
I think Zemo really put the idea in Sam's head, because like when they were talking about the diplomatic situations about Carly and all them in that little that room, but when Zemo said, "There's never been another Steve Rogers," because it never corrupted him, you see the eyes on Sam like, oh, well, obviously I would never take the serum, but I can never be Steve, but I can be the first, you know, new Captain America that can hold that shield with pride the same way Steve did, and be, you know, just as good or even better. So it kind of gives you the idea that Sam's like, okay, well, I should have never gave up the shield and just, you know, accept the choice to be Captain America. But, you know, like we all he had to figure it out himself. Like, oh, well, you know, there's a reason why Steve chose me.
Yeah, I think he had to earn it back too.
Yeah.
I think whenever he gave away the shield, he couldn't disconnect the idea of Steve Rogers from the shield itself. Yeah. And so once he's given it up and he goes through everything that he did in the first 5 episodes, he's finally to a point where he's like, I am worthy. I was chosen. And now I understand why I was chosen. And he takes ownership of it. Now, my favorite part of that last episode was probably watching him train in the woods with it.
Oh, yeah. I did like that.
Montage.
Because Cap made it look so easy all the time. I was like, is it? Like, he just fling it around and it just randomly comes back to him. I'm like, if I tried that, it would have fallen in the lake. Like, I don't the lake. Like, well, crap.
Ross said he's in the.
Yes.
He's in this. I don't actually And it's just purely for storyteller reasons. I don't really see them giving him any kind of like super soldier serum or any kind of Wakandan serum. And the reason is like I feel like if they're going to introduce that, it's going to be in their show. I could see them doing something like that, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well,
I think
that's a wild prediction. So
yeah.
Do you think it could be something, Ryan? Hold on. Do you think it could be something like that briefcase stays closed the entire episode? Which, like I said, again, not saying Luke's right, not saying you're right or wrong, but could it be something where like it's still a mystery what's in the briefcase, and all of a sudden the last 30 seconds of the thing he finally opens it up, but you never get to see what's in it?
I don't know. I mean, that would be, he opened it at the end of the last episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did. That's right.
That would be the biggest tease for nothing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a suit that is on par with the Black Panther suit. And what I mean by that is I think it's going to have some absorption capabilities, so he'll be able to reflect damage or to deal out more damage. I think it's going to be something like that. I also have this interesting theory, and this is just purely story purpose theory. Like there's nothing behind it. I mentioned this on Twitter earlier today or a little bit ago. These other people were having a conversation about the new suit, and it was not a conversation that it was a different conversation, but I chimed in with my little just theory on that, on how the suit was made. I said, I think that Suri most likely, she saw Sam flying around and using his suit during while they were in Wakanda. And I am fairly certain that she probably was like, I think I could do that. I'm pretty sure I could do that better than what they did, or what he's already got now. And so when Bucky went to him and said, or went to them and said, I have a favor for you, that's why it was like so quick that they already got the suit. I have no doubt in my mind that she was already working on whatever he's got. She was already working on that, specifically thinking about him, because that's just who her character has been so far. We've only seen it with the Wakandan tech, but it would just make sense to me that she would look at some of this new stuff, some of the suits that these other people have, and do it that way. I wouldn't even be surprised if she's already working on like an Iron Man style suit.
Yeah.
And for I don't want to say just for all the African American characters, but for Riri Williams or Rhodey, I could see a style of suits like that she already working on, or she just use them for her own purposes. So.
Yeah, well, you're talking about like another Iron Man suit. You're fixing to have the Armor Wars, what it's called. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's going to be possibly another series that they've talked about doing, or Ironheart, which was it's going to be kind of a spinoff of Iron Man with a girl leading the role, and then you have talking about War Machine, and some of them would be leading that too.
Yeah.
So
I don't like the Wakandans are going to be. I would imagine they're going to be an integral part of everything. While we haven't talked about this yet, there was speculation that there's already speculation that the 10 rings that were, that you see them in the Shang-Chi trailer, is that Wakandan tech? Because it looks like Wakandan tech so far.
Yeah.
So, well, it looks like Wakandan tech. I don't want to say Wakandan tech because if they repurposed it, it's not Wakandan tech. It's oh my gosh, what is the metal? I just forgot the name of the metal.
Vibranium?
Aluminum?
The metal that they use.
Vibranium.
Steel.
Yeah.
Vibranium.
Adamantium.
Well, see, that's the other thing. Eventually adamantium's got to come into play too. Unless they just say, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to do everything vibranium. That would be something. The next Wolverine's claws are actually vibranium.
No, it's a big surprise. They end up throwing a surprise party for him. Just want to let you know, this wasn't the metal that we told you, and it's something else.
Yeah.
Ross, welcome. How are you tonight? Hello, Ross.
Ross, you there?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't even, all I heard was how are you?
Well,
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
yeah. We're talking about Falcon Winter Soldier. What are your thoughts? Are you up to date?
No. I started watching one episode yesterday and I didn't get to finish it, so I'm behind.
How far are you
For
behind?
obvious reasons.
Mark,
Good question. I think
I think Ross is having connection issues. He told me earlier. So
Yeah.
What?
So you're having a little connection
Yeah, I
issues
am.
tonight.
Time.
Well, what have you thought about what you've seen of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
It's been all week, really. I mean, so far, we talked about it last podcast. I don't really know what to think about the new Cap. I like the, Bucky and you guys are froze. So
He is not having a good night. I will say this. This is not really anything about the show itself. Well, I mean, it's about the show, but it's not about theories of the show. There is a strong possibility I will be up at 3:00 in the morning watching this show.
Oh, when it comes out?
Yeah, I did that last week.
I
didn't actually plan to. I was gonna stay awake and then just go to bed afterwards, but I fell asleep and then wound up waking up at 3 a.m. Like I just woke up and was like, okay, I'm awake, so I'm just gonna go ahead and watch it.
Well, so has everybody seen the 10 Rings trailer?
Oh, the preview, yeah.
David,
Well,
have you seen it?
Yeah, I have. I'm still confused about it. To be honest with you.
Still confused. What are you confused about? And Ryan will explain everything.
Well, like,
Okay.
how does that connect with anything in the Marvel universe right now?
Okay, that's
because it's written by Marvel. There you go. That's all.
That's true.
No, like how does it connect with anything? Where
Go back and watch the very first Iron Man movie.
Yeah, like the bad guys that was kind of in the backgrounds. There's the logos everywhere. Iron Man 3 wasn't.
Yeah, that was they used that group.
Yeah,
like the idea of the group was used
of the Mandarin or the fake Mandarin.
Yeah. So they're there. They've always been there. They just haven't been out in front unless you watch the Iron Man movie. See, the thing is, I'm not as up to date on the Shang-Chi as I would say anything else, but the Mandarin and the 10 Rings or whatever his organization is called, they have been Iron Man's one of his top enemies for a long time, and everything. So they're repurposing it, not repurposing it, but they're just using it to as the basis for this movie. And again, it has actually been present since the very beginning. So it just hasn't been at play because it's not been something that they've wanted to use. And I'm actually glad that they have decided to reuse them instead of making them a joke, which, to be fair, Iron Man 1, managed to make them sort of a joke, and then Iron Man 3 made it really look like a joke just because of how it was used. But now they're using, now they're actually bringing them here proper. So,
well, here is some of the things that they're connected with. They were in, like we talked about, Iron Man 1. Here it says that the 10 Rings supported Whiplash to kill Stark in Iron Man 2. And it says in the comics, they have been known to obtain scans of the War Machine suit. And then have any of y'all watched the Marvel one-shots? Kind of like the little prequels or whatever?
No.
So there's one called All Hail the King. and it has to deal with the Mandarin, and so, which we've already talked about that with Iron Man 3, but it says that he gets his revenge on his impersonator. They've been dealt with to have connection or try to steal the Pym particles. They've been known to be a part of the Vulture or the Sinister Six, be behind that. So that's some of the tie-ins from some of the characters in the other movie or the movies throughout. So are you good now, David? Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say, I think one of the things I like about this, and I don't want to say for, all purposes, but I like the fact that we're introducing more henchmen and bad guys on Earth now, because a lot of them, with Endgame and everything, that was all outward. And then, you've got Civil War and whatnot. That was more of an inward conflict with one outward factor. But now you've got these organizations on Earth, and it's really cool to see them doing that.
Yeah. And I kind of like, if you're not paying attention to it and you don't really know or have seen the connections with the 10 Rings, it's kind of like, the Guardians of the Galaxy and some of those other movies. You don't really know much about them other than Iron Man and Captain America, those characters. No one probably really knew who Black Widow was or Hawkeye, or when you saw him in Thor sitting up there on the perch, everybody's thinking, oh, he's just another SHIELD agent. You don't really know who Hawkeye is. And so I kind of like that there's this movie about the 10 Rings that, even some of the other movies we've already talked about that's coming out. I love the connections with those. And they're, I guess you would say, no-name movies that could be as big as Iron Man and Captain America. And then for kids, they might find their superheroes where mine was Iron Man and Spider-Man growing up. They might find somebody through these movies.
Yeah.
So, Luke, what'd you think?
To me, it seemed very similar to Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But with a slightly different storyline. So it's, it's still got the more of the martial arts, but whereas Iron Fist is fighting the hand, he's fighting a different organization. So
yeah,
but I thought it looked great. Marvel, they never fail to impress. So I know it'll end up being pretty good anyway. So, or at least I have faith that it will. But the whole homecoming story, having to fight against kind of your home and your family and all that kind of stuff, that's an interesting storyline that we don't really see anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned an Iron Fist. Made me think about an article I read yesterday, actually, where it said, could we see, I don't know if it was a new Iron Fist, but could we see an introduction of Iron Fist in the movie? So you saying that, it was weird because I did see a connection to that.
Now, let me just go ahead and say, of all the things that Marvel's done, the Netflix original series, The Punisher, was pretty good. Jessica Jones was tolerable.
Yeah.
Luke Cage was great. And Daredevil, awesome. Iron Fist was the one that I could not really get into.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a little lacking.
I see them. Okay, I'm really hoping that Marvel will bring back a bunch of these characters. I don't hate the guy that was playing
Netflix series.
Yes, I don't hate the guy that was playing Iron Fist, but if they recast him, I'm not gonna, I'm definitely not gonna lose sleep over it. I might be upset.
My feelings at all.
Yeah, I'd be upset if everyone else got recast, and I'm not joking. Every single other person got recast, but if that dude got recast, in fact, I'll go as far as to say if they went ahead and made him an Asian character, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty cool. But if everybody else gets recast, I would be, I'd be like, oh man, you got rid of Charlie Cox. I wouldn't even be sad. I don't remember her name. I wouldn't even be sad if they recast the girl that was in Iron Fist, because I really liked her. I thought she was a cool character. I don't remember the character's name either. But if he got recast, I would be like, okay, that's totally fine with me.
Yeah. Ross, are you with us?
Not really. He just texted and said, I think it's time for me to get
I'm already out.
I'm going to hop off this podcast. Y'all are in and I am out. And I'm sure the same way. I don't know what that means, but bye, Ross.
Well, Ross,
just kick him out.
We'll see you later.
And his pain.
Thanks for joining us. We love you. We'll miss you. We'll see you later.
I don't know.
Well,
what he could have done though is he could have just like downloaded this on his phone and used his Wi-Fi. I mean, used his service.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. There's just so many movies that have come out, and I'm just ready for. I just want them all to be here. I'm tired of waiting 6 months for Mandalorian. I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah.
For the next series, and I'm tired of waiting. Like, I wish as soon as Falcon was done, I wish next week they're just like, boom, Loki, here you go. Like, I'm already thinking, I saw something where this past weekend they were talking about it was a year anniversary of the Last Dance, the whole Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls thing was released when we didn't have sports. And I'm like, I might rewatch that again because, I don't have Falcon to watch, and I got to wait on Loki and got to wait on Black Widow and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I'm excited about it too. It looked pretty good. I'm ready to see some more trailers from it. So what do we think about Sony and Disney Plus combining forces now, and where Spider-Man can be on Disney Plus? What do y'all think about that? Think it's going to be a good move? Do you think it's going to be
it's a good move. No, it's a good move.
I think there's a such thing as a monopoly. And I feel like if they combine forces, what did the other streaming services really, do they have a chance really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes, they do have a chance. And, well,
not a good one.
I don't know. Netflix has some pretty good shows on there if they would just, give them more than 2 seasons. Like, they could probably, stay pretty much at the tippy top. And if HBO Max, well, not really HBO Max, but if Warner Brothers would get their, brains together and actually go full force behind the DCEU, there's a good probability that it could overtake Marvel in I wouldn't say a couple years, but it could overtake Marvel eventually, because DC characters they're widely known. Everyone knows DC characters. And their stories, they have some really good stories, but it seems like every time WB takes a couple steps forward with their DC characters, and they're like, okay, we've done enough now, and they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I've been overly.
I'm looking forward for Black Adam. Really, I am.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I've read that Dwayne Johnson's really fighting for the Snyderverse. He's really like him and Cavill. And to be honest, The Rock is a high commodity, so he has the power to kind of overthrow these, Warner Brothers executives on whether they say no to the Snyderverse or not. And, I mean, who's really going to do Black Adam besides The Rock? I mean, we've been hyping, The Rock to be Black Adam for a long time. So that's You know,
Rock's just gonna get mad one day, and he's like, you know what? I'm done with this, and he's gonna buy WB.
yeah.
So who's this Dwayne Johnson guy you speak of?
Oh my god.
Because
I
I
can't
love
wait
when you
for him to
say
run
Dwayne
president.
Johnson.
The Rock is Dwayne Johnson,
I
right?
know,
Is
but-
he not? But he has the power to do. He can be Dwayne Johnson, or he can be The Rock. It doesn't matter.
When he's
We're
the
getting both.
president, when he is the president, I will call him President The Rock.
Okay.
But David, you said, well,
But
Dwayne
does he
Johnson.
not?
You time out there, buddy. You
Oh
said,
my god.
You said
The
Dwayne
Rock
Johnson.
has. It doesn't
And then
matter.
the next
They're
5
the
times
same
you reference
person.
to him, the
The
next 5
Rock.
times it's The Rock. Like, why didn't you call him The
But-
Rock from the get-go?
Okay, but
But
in formal sense, he's Dwayne Johnson, but we all know him as The Rock.
President
we?
So
The Rock.
call him Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Whatever.
Or President.
Situation in there.
Okay.
Is it better to call him President Rock or President The Rock?
Are you confusing it with President Barack?
No. He would be his own thing. I just can't wait for it to happen. I know we don't talk
I
about
would
politics
say
on here,
President Rock.
but I just can't wait for it to happen. And I want you all to know, whoever's listening to this right now,
I am.
he has my vote. He has my vote. The
don't
moment he
vote.
says,
I mean, if he rock bottom somebody that disagrees with him and rock bottom the other candidates, he's getting my vote too.
the moment he says, I'm running for president, it's over. I don't need to hear anything he's going to talk about. I'm just going to, you got it. It's over. You got my vote.
Oh man. Who would be vice president? Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Oh,
I don't know.
No, they wouldn't get along.
Probably one of his biceps.
Stone Cold gets up there. After Stone Cold has his little speech, and he gets his brewskis and pounds them and puts them on the audience.
That would be. I don't know.
I'm gonna run against him, to be honest, because
Someone's going to lose.
I'm not doing it. Forget that.
Yeah, like there's gonna be like a bunch of people that's gonna be running, and then they're gonna say, The Rock's gonna say, I declare my nomination to be run for president. Everybody's like, I'm out. Never mind. They're gonna say, I tap out.
Gonna try.
I pass.
I mean, can you imagine him like dealing with world leaders?
He'll just be like, let's meet in the ring. Let's settle this.
It's going to be so much fun.
He's like, you want to shoot missiles? Let's meet.
We should probably not get onto like more politics here, but again, people out there in the world, when The Rock runs for president, I'm being serious. He has my vote. If that makes you lose faith in me in any way, fine. I don't care. He's got my vote.
I don't know. I probably won't vote.
I think you should if The Rock votes. I mean,
I
if The
mean,
Rock runs
here's-
for president.
I want to hear his policies first.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to have national defense on lockdown.
I feel like everyone's getting like a Mercedes or something. Like, I mean, have you seen what he does for his family? Imagine with government power.
So,
Oh man.
David, you want to tell everybody what you told me earlier, how you're going to be my agent and get me
No. I
Oh,
never
okay.
said that. I never said that. You just
Okay.
assume.
So now since
Okay.
we're on air, then okay. So what's the
Your agent for what?
Nothing.
okay? Yeah, nothing. Never mind. It's
Okay, so like let's go hypothetical then. Hypothetically, if he was your agent, what would he hypothetically be your agent of?
well, hypothetically, he would hypothetically be my agent for hypothetically offensive coordinator, hypothetically job.
That's a lot of hypotheticals.
Speaking.
His show is.
David, I can tell you a handful or a list of schools that he wants to probably go to, or NFL places that he wants to go
UAPB.
to. I mean, that's not a bad start.
Well, if I make them like if they win a game, I'm on my way up. I can't.
And,
say
I
that.
think they were actually decent a couple years ago.
I think so.
They used to be.
So,
But-
what you really want to do is you want to get to UCA, because UCA is slowly climbing.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in a conference at some point, like a large conference. I would think most likely they would wind up going to the Sun Belt Conference, but I don't know. They grow so large. I could really see them going to like the SEC or the Big 12.
Well, side note, real quick,
it's just
before we move on,
this conversation from the Rock to UCA's.
I know, right?
UCA's conference abilities.
My buddy Eric, that's in Knoxville. Ryan, Luke, you remember? Well, you've heard me talk about his son and how old he is, how big he is, and things like that. He's been talked to from Clemson. He's been talked to from Notre Dame, Kentucky, like numerous schools of, like when Arkansas played Kentucky this past year, I think he was at that game because Kentucky invited him up. He actually got an invite from Arkansas State. So
Nice.
he wrote me to tell me that. So
I'm a bit surprised because
talk to me.
I've seen his, and I'm not joking when I say this. I'm a bit surprised because I've seen his like his stats and everything, that he actually hasn't been contacted by Sam Pittman yet.
He might have. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying that's where we go, but I mean, it has actually been surprising
he's
me
starting
that
with
he hasn't been contacted.
That school there, so he's
how many years has he got left in high school?
I think 2.
Yeah, who knows? He might. I mean, because regardless of how Arkansas does this year, it's going to get to a point that they're going to be they're definitely going to be an offensive line school again, like they were when Sam Pittman was first there.
Yeah.
So, and he's, you would think I would not be surprised if at some point he gets offered by Arkansas.
I can see it.
And I see his name come across my Twitter feed where so and so's been offered, and I could be like, hey, I sort of know that guy.
Yeah. All right. Luke, you have any other comments? You have anything about anything you want to talk about?
No, not particularly.
All right. I think we're going to move on to our final topic tonight, WWE. Luke, are you going to be joining with us tonight, or are you going to go ahead and head out?
I'm going to go ahead and sign out.
Go ahead and tap out with that.
Bye, Luke.
All right. Well, Luke, appreciate you joining us. I think we are going to try to have a one-night recap of Falcon and Winter Soldier sometime in the next week to talk about the entire series and maybe where it's going, maybe other series, other movies. So
we got Loki next.
Hopefully we'll have you for that. Maybe we all get together.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, man. Good to see you. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
All right. So WWE. David and I give you a little caught up on this run. David and I have been talking here recently, just overall, about some of the talent that's went to AEW, and then part-time versus full-time, things like that. And I'll go ahead and just kind of talk about some of the things we talked about, and David can chime in or kind of give you his take. So, you see it every SummerSlam, every WrestleMania, every Royal Rumble, the big pay-per-views. You have the Undertaker, you have the Brock Lesnar, you have the Rock, you have the Triple H, you have the part-timers who everybody wants to see, and it's the bigger pay-per-views. We get it. That's why they're the $60 or $70 pay-per-views compared to the $50. They're taking spots of, these people that are these up-and-coming stars who have been on Monday Night Raw. They're doing all the house shows. They're on SmackDown. And then all of a sudden they're just not in a storyline because they're not going to be at WrestleMania. And then, then the next thing it is, then they get cut. We saw something in the past week where a lot of people got cut. And then you have another thing we were talking about was some of the old timers, Christian, Sting, Chris Jericho, all these people, which there's not really much that they can do anymore, but now they're going to AEW, which you think, oh my goodness, Christian's there, Sting's there, but they don't have much to do. You know what I mean? So what's your take on that?
What's my take on them bringing in or I don't want to say part-time talents for big pay-per-views and then really having nothing else for them afterwards and not using their younger talents?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I'm of two minds of it. On one hand, hey, it gets people in the door, and ultimately, you're about making money. And people, I haven't watched WWE in forever. There's a specific reason. I actually stopped watching after I was still at my old house and everything. So this is way before I moved. I think it was like a year before I moved, in all honesty. So I haven't watched WWE in that long of a time. I've been keeping up with it, but I haven't watched it. They did something and Brock Lesnar won, and it was so obvious that it was like such a bad decision that Brock Lesnar won.
You're talking about Money in the Bank?
No, I don't think it was Money in the Bank. I actually think it was something before that, but I hated it so much.
Well, the reason I say that because I remember you making a comment about.
Maybe it was Money in the Bank, but I hated it so much that I was like, I'm done. And I actually canceled my subscription that night.
But here's my thing,
it gets me so mad that, that they were doing that. But that being said, I get it. If like someone said The Rock's going to be in WWE next week, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to watch WWE next week.
But let me ask you this. Who would have expected somebody like Brock Lesnar to be in the ladder match of Money in the Bank? Now, when I saw him come out, because he was the last entry and the match had already started, as soon as his music hit and he walked down that ramp, I knew he was going to win unless somebody was going to low blow him or do some kind of cheat. Just like him getting knocked out of the ring at WrestleMania for Seth Rollins to pin Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar was a champion, but he didn't beat Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought that was just a total surprise. Now, again, Brock having the belt, not being on TV for 3 months, or just making random appearance and show back up at this pay-per-view, vice versa. I don't like that, but like I just thought that was great because I was not expecting that. Just like, Goldberg going in there and boom, 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 and a minute to Brock Lesnar beating him.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that because that was one thing that David and I were talking about. Like the Drew McIntyre Goldberg WrestleMania last year, I didn't
that
like.
Was just,
like
that was
It
poor.
was just a bunch of power moves and crap like that. It was just a stupid match. It just felt like it was put together carelessly. But like Goldberg versus Brock, both times they fought, even when Goldberg won, like the way he did, and then the next time when they just power moves, suplex, spear, Jack, when they just went back and forth, they fought for 5 minutes, but it was just exciting to me because I just want to see who was going to outdo who.
Yeah.
But like, another thing, kind of like the AEW.
Sorry.
Like, Christian is a part-timer in WWE. He's not getting the wrestle anymore. So he's not really good talent. And people just want to see him wrestle, but people complain about Undertaker because he looks old in the ring. Just like they said they added Daniel Bryan to this triple threat match at WrestleMania because Edge looked old. Well, duh. Like, what did you expect? Did you expect Edge just to come back in after not wrestling for 9 years to be
in prime shape? No.
Exactly.
And that's the funny thing about that is like it's coming out that Daniel Bryan might be the one retiring soon.
Well, yeah, I've heard that. I've heard two things. I heard he still wants to wrestle. But then again, I've heard that he wants to just settle down with the family.
Yeah.
And he's had those injuries, and so he wants to be healthy for his family, just like the football players. These football players retiring at the age of 28.
But would you blame him for wanting to retire? So, if it's pinnacle of his career?
Well, I wouldn't blame him for what? For be with family or to go to a different company?
Well, like a lot of people that choose family, right? Like how Becky was scolded for being pregnant, and she was at the top of her career. She could have had made hundreds of millions of dollars, but like that's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't blame him if he wants to be a family man and say, "All right, well I've done what I can with wrestling."
That would be as stupid as sitting here saying, "Well, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, all you WNBA players, you guys are ruining our chance of winning a WNBA championship because you want to get pregnant." They can't help that. They're a woman,
would.
and they don't want to wait till their late 30s, early 40s to have a kid.
I don't think. I mean, obviously with Daniel Bryan, he's gonna eventually stop wrestling. I figured he'll probably be something within wrestling still. Like
I could see him be like
he'll produce or something like that.
I can see him produce or possibly go work at the performance center.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, it also depends if his talks of retiring might actually be him leaving and him just his contract's almost up with WWE. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to leave WWE no matter what. But it's just WWE's, and I think AEW's like I don't follow AEW as probably as much as I follow WWE. Well, definitely don't follow AEW as much as I follow WWE. From an outside perspective, this is the problems with both of these companies. WWE is garbage with their up and coming talent. Like it's garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like they don't really push these people until they have absolutely no choice to push these people. And then a lot of times it also feels like when they finally do push these people, it's like, you know what? Meh. That's what it feels like, because I can't tell you how many guys I've seen. I remember hearing about, and when they came up from NXT and, when they weren't really three different brands, it was, or three different shows. It was, it was SmackDown and Raw, and then the NXT was like the minor leagues. And then these guys would come up from NXT, and it would just like, they don't do anything with them on the roster. And it's like, no, that's not right.
That's what
do
David
something
and
with these people.
David and I said, a lot of people said, I don't want to go to the main roster. Triple H is doing well with me. He's making me look like a star.
In AEW, their problem, I think, is their WCW and why WCW failed.
Yeah. Well,
that's the truth. It's like everyone's in a faction right now. Like, at what point are we just going to bring back everyone's a part of the NWO?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then there is a lot of these old timers coming in, like Billy Gunn's a part of it now.
Matt
like,
Hardy,
so are you just
Christian.
Are you just going to be Are you going to be factions and old guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like Billy Gunn had been there since like the first taping of AEW, and and then when they added Matt Hardy, I was confused. I'm like, wait, why? And then when Sting showed up, I'm like, wait, I thought he was retired. He had that neck injury after the buckle bomb, and he was done. Why is he back in the ring?
So Billy Gunn's been there since the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought he just showed up the other day randomly, and I was like,
no,
it's Billy Gunn.
No, because when they hyped up AEW Dynamite, I was like, okay, well, it's something fresh. It's something new, something that fans been wanting for a long time. But WWE forgot about was like, the fresh product.
Yeah.
And then when they brought it out, the first episode or the first taping was an absolutely amazing show. I watched it through. And then after a while, it kind of got stale. You're like, okay, well, Then you add Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley. You add this guy who's a pioneer of violence in the CZW days. You're like, oh, well, now we got somebody who can bring out death matches, but you can only go so far with them.
And so
it becomes like this just crap show, and you're like, oh, well, just another day.
And see, here's my thing, WWE is not going to get better until AEW gets better.
No.
Yeah. Like let's say Alabama. Let's say Alabama always wins the championship every year, goes undefeated, and there's no college team that ever comes close. Mm-hmm. Until Alabama, either starts winning by a touchdown instead of 3, or they start losing a game, then they're not going to recruit better. You know what I mean? And so the writing and stuff is not going to get better on WWE because they're going to feel like, well, we still get better ratings.
Yeah.
But then AEW, they sit here and try to go, our ratings are better than NXT.
Yeah, but NXT is literally putting on 5-star matches.
Well, but my thing is about that is, and I think David, you and I said this, or it was me and my friend Kevin. That's comparing the National League Baseball League to the AAA minor league, saying, well, we have more fans than you do. Well, yeah, people want to go see the Yankees, not the AA Yankees.
Hey, real quick, I'm going to pause this particular conversation because I just remembered that there was something I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to say it. Kevin, I know you're listening right now because I think you're like one of our only listeners, which is awesome. Shang-Chi is going to be a good movie. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be a good movie. I want you to know that because it's going to be great. Because I saw your comments on Randy's post. It's going to be a great movie, Kevin, and you're going to enjoy it.
Hey, he
So I
said,
want you to know.
Hey, he said he'd be there in front row with his cheese dip.
I'm so happy that you said that.
So yeah, he'll be there. But yeah, the AEW comparing their ratings to NXT, it's like, okay, let's compare what your ratings were for the week against Raw or SmackDown, or like when they had WWE Main Event or WWE Sunday Night Heat. Like, you're comparing it to stuff that's not on normal TV, or like that just makes no sense to me. Just because it's on that same night, you can't do that.
As much as their product sucks, and it does, WWE's product mostly sucks. That's why I don't watch it. And if people want to say I disagree with that, that's fine. That's your opinion. It's my opinion. WWE to the moon. I mean, they just keep making deals with companies, and companies keep seeing something in them. So, I'm always interested in see where WWE is going. I remember a couple years back. Stephanie, I think it was Stephanie's the one that said it. She said, that she knows that WWE can offer more product than just wrestling. And it's like, okay, I'm really interested in that because I want to see what you can do with this. And so it'll be nice to see where they go. And I'm really interested in it. So I need them to succeed because I would like to see that.
Well,
I would like to see the company not to shut down anytime soon.
The pipe bomb that CM Punk said, I'm going a different way than what he said, but it would be interesting to see what happens because Vince McMahon's going to run this company until he dies. I don't
most likely
saying Triple H, you're taking over, Shane, you're taking over, random junior CEO of the company. You're going to I just see him dying and then the family taking over. I'm curious of what's going to happen then. Their visions that he has said, nope, we're not doing Triple H. We're not doing. I'm CEO. I'm curious to see what happens. But seeing Bray Wyatt or the Fiend and stuff, I love his character. I love how he can, when he was Bray Wyatt, he carried the whole 4 weeks leading up to WrestleMania against Undertaker. Undertaker never showed up, and I was so intrigued and so excited about that match. And he can just run with it. He is good, and he's taking this Fiend character in this Playhouse. And then from the way that they decided to change the ending, which I know you didn't see, Ron, but change the ending at WrestleMania and go from there. And it seems like they're splitting him and Alexa Bliss up or whatever. And it's it makes no sense. You have something good. You sit there and run with the McMahon-Helmsley era for 2 years and have them dominate everybody and screw everybody over. You have the Undertaker and his ministry or his corporate ministry. You have them dominate and steal Stephanie and kidnap and have the Brood with the acolytes and and Edge and Christian and Gangrel and all them. You have all these things that just dominate, and then you have the Fiend who's supposed to be this unstoppable force, and then he gets distracted or he gets knocked out one night or caught on fire. I don't know. Besides the Fiend, the next biggest thing I like the Roman Reigns story. I really do. But I don't know.
I mean, there's not really much, hot talent right now.
No, because I quit watching when they stopped doing fans because it was just different to me. When they brought back the Thunderdome, that's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch Royal Rumble because I always watch Royal Rumble. I want to see who's going to come down, you know, in the ring. And if there's a certain match, I'm thinking, ooh, that'd be a good match.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some friends come up for the first night of Mania because they wanted to, because we hadn't hung out in a while. And then I decided to watch the second night by myself. So, yeah, that's
my pinnacle with World Wrestling Entertainment happened to be the Ruthless Aggression era. That's where I grew up watching wrestling. That right there is where I was like, oh, that's wrestling. The storytelling was great. You know, the action, the drama, everything else, it just fit.
Ruthless aggression.
Yeah, see, that's the pinnacle for me. Now we're stuck with the PG era, and it's just kind of like, what's the point? It's just everything. Like, I know the women's division could be so much better, and me and my brother talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, the women, they're scared. I mean, there's a lot of women that will put their body on the line. I mean, when they did the women's was it the cage match with the 2 rings, War Games.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is where women's wrestling should be. Not just the violence of it, but like, that's how you're supposed to be in the women's division.
But
that's the bar.
Wasn't the Banks match like at WrestleMania really good?
Yeah, I thought so.
I didn't watch it.
One?
The Sasha Banks match with the WWE title or the WWE Women's title
with
Sasha
Belair.
Yeah, Belair.
Yeah,
I should have known that because I always like her name every time I hear it because obviously it reminds me of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Well, yeah.
But
I don't know.
Wasn't that match like really good? I've heard that match was really good. So
I thought it was.
I mean, but like for me, the women's division should be beating the men's competition, but it's not. You're kind of just like, what are we doing, ladies? Are we taking a step back or are we going 10 steps forward? And then the men are kind of like, well, you do this every day. That's whatever. Like, they don't care. I feel like in Mark Calloway said it that the guys in the back locker room are soft. And I mean, I agree with him. I mean, they're sitting there.
SAWFT?
No.
Not that soft?
No. But the guys are, back in the early days of wrestling, guys settled things with guns and knives, or they settled with money.
Well, I don't recommend anyone settling anything with guns and knives.
No, but like back then, that's how you would settle a squabble if you had one with the other performer. But now everybody's, on their cellular device or playing video games in the locker room instead of learning, from the major talent, and you're like trying to pick their brains of how to be a better performer.
Yeah.
You're on this main stage, you're not getting as much TV time, but you're hungry. You're 20 or you're like in your teens, in this main event. You're like, oh man, I gotta be better and get better so I could be a major draw. You see these guys not even caring. They're like, whatever. I get time whenever, they ask for me. No, man. Like the New Day, that was a great run for them as a trio.
Yeah.
They were funny, they were entertaining.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, how can you step it up from there for anybody else? You got to be, present, and you got to go, oh, okay. We can take what we learned from the New Day, but be better. And even the Hurt Business, even though their run was cut short, which I wish they never did cut them short, they had something.
Yeah. There's too many things that happen last minute, and like
that doesn't make
changes.
sense.
Well, and they don't think of like the long term. They're just like, well, we need to break them up now, or we need to make this person lose tonight, or we need to. like I understand things happen, but then again, I feel like there's no thought process with Vince anymore.
Yeah, but you know how like the evolution, how they hyped up Batista and Triple H at WrestleMania. You know how you play it slowly. How they should have done that with the Hurt Business. You know, kind of Sheldon, not like Bobby Lashley be like Triple H, not in that sense, but like I'm the champion. None of y'all in the Hurt Business are above me. Kind of get jealous with power, and then Sheldon or whoever else was in that group kind of go, well, I can be better than Bobby. I could be champion one day, like Randy Orton or Batista.
Yeah.
And that way, you're setting these guys up for a better career. And then you're like, well, the Hurt Business was a success later down in the line when they go into Hall of Fame and induction ceremony as a group. That's how it should have been. But, we don't know.
Nope. You probably never will. All right, guys. I think we'll stop it there. I was reading something also earlier, I forgot to mention. It says that the Falcon and Winter Soldier possibly could be an 1.5 hour long finale.
Yep, I'll be going to bed at 4:30 then.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully I'm watching it tomorrow night.
There's so much. Oh,
I'm gonna be watching it.
We didn't talk about this either. In Marvel news, Russell Crowe has been cast as Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Don't expect him. Don't expect him to live long. Just my personal opinion there.
Well, I can see that.
So, like,
I mean,
their
10-minute
part, or like,
I don't know. I mean, the main villain of the movie is Gore. Is it Gore?
I think so.
Gore the God Butcher.
Who
literally has powers to kill gods.
Yeah.
So
like, God of War.
Yeah, essentially. Like his origin story is he got I think him and his family got caught up, or something happened to his family. They all died. And I think it was because of two gods were fighting. And he survived it, and they were both like on the ground and trying to they were both on the ground, and he walked up to him, and like one of them was like, save me, and he picked up the swords or a sword and was like, no, I'm gonna kill you both, and killed them both. And he got the power of like the evil ones from doing that, and then so he became a god butcher. So there you go.
Kratos.
But what's interesting about that is that Zeus, whether Zeus lives or dies is irrelevant, but Zeus has a son whose name is Hercules, who's actually, a big part of Marvel Comics. So
yeah.
So it'd be really cool to bring him in. And since people are fan casting right now, since Russell Crowe is gonna play Zeus, there's another guy out there that is coming who might not play a character anymore, who's just so happened to play Zeus's son, or Russell Crowe's son, in another movie about a really strong guy who can do really strong feats of humanity. So that'd be pretty cool if they brought Henry Cavill in to play Hercules.
Would. Another thing real quick, I saw where there's still rumors of who and what could be in the Spider-Man movie, because I think they're trying to really make it a surprise, which I want it to be. They said look for a big time character to die. They said some user who was right about a prediction in Endgame and another movie or another series, maybe WandaVision or something like that, that was right based on their intel. They kind of, and I'm not going to say this because I don't want to put it out here right now. We can talk about this later, but they kind of put out what they saw. Like some things they said, this scene happens. I don't know how this scene got to this place, but then Tom Holland Spider-Man meets up with this other Spider-Man, and then they talked about these other things that happened. And they said that Tom Holland was really angry in this one scene, but they kind of give us the synopsis of the story. Didn't know that's what I was reading at the time. So if it's true, kind of stinks that I know what the movie's going to be about. But anyways, so there's something to look forward to whenever the new Spider-Man comes out there. But then again, might not be true at all because, there's supposed to been several different death scenes in Infinity War, in Civil War, Endgame, because they film a bunch of different things. And sometimes the characters don't know until they get to the theater to see it for themselves. So,
did you hear the guy that played Doc Ock is revising his role?
Well, I knew that. I knew that about 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's been super.
But like I said, they're trying to keep.
I didn't know that until it popped up. Maybe.
Well, he ended up saying it, and everybody said he's going to be in Marvel prison now. So, but anyway, guys,
go watch Mortal Kombat trailer.
Oh Lord, here we go.
No, just wait till 12 o'clock and watch the movie.
Yeah.
What?
It comes out.
I didn't know that.
It comes on HBO. It comes out on HBO Max tonight, doesn't it?
I don't know, Ron. Let me go look because you end up telling me about the draft, and
I know it comes out on the 23rd, no matter what, and I'm pretty sure it drops on HBO Max tonight.
Let's see.
I've seen the first 7 minutes. I've seen the first 7 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, all right, I see you, and I might watch you.
I seen it on YouTube, and I was like, all right, this movie's gonna be a banger.
I can't wait for the draft. I thought it was tonight, and I was so excited to talk about the draft picks and how Trevor Lawrence
in theaters and HBO Max, April 23rd. So I'm sure it's midnight.
Oh, yeah,
because that's when Godzilla and all those came out was midnight. So Wonder Woman.
Godzilla versus Kong is a great movie. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch
it. It is.
Now.
I watched it, just curious to see what it would be like, and I thought it was great.
You have 7-8 days to watch that movie. World out there. So if you don't see this in 7 or 8 days, it's just bad luck for you.
Yeah.
Should have listened to me sooner.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I keep making faces like people can see me.
They can. They can.
Cool.
David, Ron, appreciate it. Maybe we'll be able to hear from Ross next time. Like I mentioned earlier, everybody, we plan on doing another podcast, hopefully in the next coming days, to go over Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just kind of wrap the series up, talk about future things, maybe even talk about some more about Spider-Man movie coming out. Right now, me personally, I'm streaming some Call of Duty, streaming a little bit of Assassin's Creed, and my Madden League. Ron is playing the Madden League with me. David, I know he's been streaming some Call of Duty. Luke has his
I'm gonna tell you
stretcher baits that you can buy, fishing baits and stuff from. And Ross is at Law Dog Avenger Gaming.
I'm gonna tell you that Verdansk New King, that whole event was overhyped. I'm telling you, it was the first 5 minutes, the whole server crashed. So everybody that wasn't a main streamer for the Warzone game, queued up for 20 minutes in the same server queue. And I was like, wow, that sucks. So I ended up restarting my game twice just to get into the event. And, they set it up for everybody to fail. So Verdansk gets nuked, and it's just kind of like, well, what do you do now? You wait an hour or so. You go to Rebirth, and you have to do this challenge and everything else. I mean, it was overhyped for a year, and it was just like, this is pretty boring. And, but I will say that the new map for the Warzone is a lot better than what we got a year ago. So
I actually am gonna plug, my interest here real quick. If you are a Razorback fan, you can follow me on Twitter and you can see me retweet stuff about the Razorbacks. But I'm actually part of a group called Band of Boars, where we try to cover all the Razorback sports. Right now, all we're doing is all we really do right now is just, try to tell people out there in the world what's going on with every single Razorback sport. So go like us on Facebook, Band of Boars. That's all you have to type in, and you'll find it. Some of you probably maybe already a part of it, but So yeah, that's what I'm up to most of the time. Like I'm just retweeting stuff on Twitter or about Razorback sports and NFL stuff, or I'm helping get that stuff on Facebook so that people can see what's going on, not just in football, but in basketball, baseball, volleyball, track, field, tennis, and hockey, and gymnastics.
There you go, guys.
And water polo. I mean, anything the Razorbacks do, we just try to get that out there. So,
all right, there you guys go. Follow all of us. Hopefully, sometime soon we'll have some other news coming out for everybody to share. And I think that's it with us. Good talk again, guys. Changed it up a little bit with some WWE tonight. So,
Always.
From Luke, Ross, David, and I, guys, there's plenty of ways to follow us again. If you're listening to us now, you can still listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, on Anchor. Give us a like, follow us on those things where you can get the update, know when our new episode comes, because right now you're not listening to us live, but maybe one day you can. Email me at titanavengergaming@gmail.com if you have any topics you want to talk about, if you want to come on and debate with us. So, and we welcome that.
yeah, I would like, I mean, if we, when we debate.
Yeah, because most of the things is just us sharing ideas. So please feel free to do that. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Please share any comments you have, share with your friends. And we are out.